Good evening, everyone. So what we are going to do is we are going to start the meeting since it is now 6:17 and per our bylaws, because we do not have full quorum yet, I'll make it through to that part of my introduction. And then we will wait 15 minutes. And if we don't have quorum, then we will adjourn the meeting and we will reconvene in November. So I will begin my introduction now. Welcome to the October 16th, 2023 meeting of CB11's Human Services Committee. My name is Isaac Scott and I am the chair of the committee. The meeting is called to order at 6:17. Tonight we are joined by Marlene Pierre, the staff liaison to our committee. In order to conduct an efficient meeting, let's observe a few ground rules. No one may speak until granted the floor. CB11 members, if you have a question about board business or wish to make a motion, please raise your hand and wait to be recognized. To raise your hand through the Zoom, click the participants icon and you will find the raise hand function. If you have technical difficulty, click the chat icon and relay your difficulty to the staff. Members should not engage in a back and forth discussion. The chair will recognize the next person to speak. The chat should not be used for CB11 business or questions about agenda topics. All such remarks should be made on the record when recognized. Please keep your questions and comments brief and on topic to the discussion. I will say that again. Please keep your questions and comments brief and on topic to the discussion. Members of the public, if you have a question or comment about a subject on the agenda, please raise your hand and wait to be recognized. Now we will take attendance by roll call. Committee members, please answer present when your name is called.
April Austrie is appearing via Zoom and excused for this meeting. Mark Bergersky.
Present.
You have Chowdhury. Kareem Kauser. Roger Flores. Brady Gillespie. Jill Jones.
Present.
Jennifer Meyer. Present. Alicia Miranda. Arturo Perez.
Present.
Isaac Scott.
Present.
And Robin Stracher is excused for this meeting. Isaac, you don't have a quorum.
Okay, folks, so we are on the clock now. My 15 minutes starts from 6:17, correct? Okay, we got the timer on, 15 minutes. If we do not, I believe we need 2 more committee members to make quorum. If we do not have that in the next 15 minutes, I will adjourn this meeting as I am supposed to. Thank you, everyone who is here on time and who was able to make it. Hey, folks, thank you very, very much for your patience. Marlene, can we do roll call one more time?
Yes. April Austrie is appearing by Zoom and is excused for this meeting. Mark Vigorski,
Still present.
Duhad Chowdhury. Kareem Cowser,
Present.
Roger Flores. Brandon Gillespie,
Here.
Phil Jones.
Present.
Jennifer Meyer. Present. Alicia Miranda. Arturo Perez,
Present.
Isaac Scott,
Present.
and Rod Administration is excused for this meeting. You have a forum.
Thank you. So the agenda for tonight's meeting was distributed ahead of time by the board office and was posted online. If there's no objections, we will adopt the agenda as stated. Committee members, if you object to adopt an agenda, agenda, you may raise your hand and wait to be recognized. Okay, seeing no objections, the agenda for tonight's meeting is adopted. A template of the minutes from our last meeting was distributed to the committee by the board beforehand. If there's no objection to that, to those template of the minutes, I will take a pause here right now to say that right now we have the template of the minutes that were sent around, but the actual minutes for September will be completed before our executive meeting Thursday. I spent more time working on our budget request for this month than I did on the minutes, so forgive me. But right now we have a template of the minutes available. Committee members, if you object to adopting those minutes, you may raise your hand and wait to be recognized. Okay, seeing no objections, the minutes from last meeting are adopted. Okay, and the minutes for tonight will again be taken by myself. We'll move right into announcements. I'm not gonna, speed date the meeting, but I am gonna ask that we, understanding that we got off to a little bit of a late start, let's try to move a bit quicker. But my first announcement, actually was, I wanted to, with respects to everything going on, with the war, I wanted to, in line with the Human Services Committee, really just take a 30-second moment of silence for all of the lives who have been lost in the Israel-Hamas war, more than 3,200 people thus far. So I wanted to, just acknowledge that, not taking any position or giving any thoughts on anything other than just that, lives were lost, and it's very unfortunate that lives were lost and many people are affected by it globally. So if you will, Marlene, could you just 30 seconds or just take a moment of silence right now? Thank you, everyone. At this moment, I want to just open the floor for any brief comments. Does anyone have any sort of resources, information, or anything they want to just breathe out in this moment, after this moment of silence? Very quickly, anybody in the room, any comments, thoughts? Anybody on Zoom? I'll keep us moving. The second announcement is the East Harlem. This one came from, I believe, Robin Stration wanted us to share this, wanted me to share this with the committee. She's not here. She's not able to join this evening, but the East Harlem Community Health Committee, Older Adult Subcommittee, invites you to share and learn with colleagues working with older adults in East Harlem. So this is a hybrid event. It is in person at the Family Health Center of Harlem at 1824 Madison Ave. and it is also online. If you are interested in learning more about that event, you can reach out to me directly and I will share the information with you. The best email to use for me, let me just let folks know, it's not probably not the one that's, I mean, you can email me at isaacscott2471@gmail.com, but it would be most appreciated if you email me at my community board email, which is humanservices@cb11m.org. And I'll share this information with you if you're interested. With that was my second announcement. There's a third announcement I wanted to make room for. I don't know if Deborah Levine is on. She's on. Hey, Deborah, you can unmute yourself and please. Thank you for being here and thank you for your patience.
It's my pleasure. Thank you, Chair, and thank you all the members of the Health and Human Services Committee. It's a pleasure to be with you tonight. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I am Deborah Levine. I am the Community Engagement Officer for the City University Graduate School of Public Health and Health Policy. It's an honor to come before you tonight. Isaac and I were talking last week around some work that we're doing both with the students around cannabis equity. The Dean has been very much responsive to the requests that he's received from community boards 9, 10, and 11 about helping to gather baseline data around the knowledge, attitudes, and beliefs of the community members around cannabis and legalization. So we created a survey that has been shared with some members who helped us craft those questions from the 3 community boards. And we have launched the survey. And so we're hoping that Community Board 11 through the Health and Human Services will continue to help us get the word out. It is in English and in Spanish, and the goal is really to have some baseline information about what people really believe is the issues and the concerns in the community. We do a lot of talking about what community wants, but here was a great way for us to be able to create some data that we're able to share with the community boards to help design curriculum to really meet the needs of the community. So I shared the survey and the intro, both in English and Spanish, and have sent it over. And I'm excited to be able to come back in a few months and be able to share the results with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Deborah. Appreciate you. Okay, so I'll keep us moving. Oh, are there any questions about anything? Does anyone have any questions for Deborah? Deborah Levine? No questions. Okay, seeing no hands.
So I hope that means everybody will take the survey. It's only about 5 minutes long, honestly.
Yeah, I'll make sure that we get it into the newsletter. I'll email it to Khalid and Angel to try to get it into the next newsletter. And I'll definitely be emailing it to everybody I know. Thank you, Deborah. Appreciate you. All right. So our next, so now we can transition into does anyone have are there any other announcements from anyone in this room right now? Any announcements about any events, anything that's happened, taken place since our last meeting, or anything that will take place that we should know about? No. Any announcements from anybody in the virtual space? Okay, I'll keep us moving. Our first set of informational updates is from the Department of Mental Health and Hygiene. And I believe we have, do we have Pauline with us?
We do, but I don't see it on the phone.
Okay, so we'll just move on to the next set of presenters and we'll circle back if Pauline does join. Could we have our East Harlem co-ed updates? Is that you, Ms. Johnson?
Yes, thank you. I have no camera tonight. Thank you so much for allowing us yet to be here again. We've been having a pretty busy month. The East Harlem co-ed in conjunction with the East Harlem Tutorial Program Union Settlement has started a small business preparedness workshop to train businesses how to
So, wait.
Okay.
On your phone. Ms. Johnson.
She got confused when I proposed more runs down.
I got kicked out of one room and into another. So I'm back.
Sorry about that. Please continue.
It's okay. It's okay. So as I was saying, we began to work with the Union Settlement as well as the East Harlem Tutorial Program and created a small business initiative to teach small businesses about emergency preparedness. And so far, we've got 5 businesses. This is going to be an ongoing process. So anybody can reach out to the East Harlem Coed at gmail.com if you're interested in getting more information. Also, we had a really, really successful celebration of our 8 years of being together on September 15th. It was attended by quite a few guys from around the community, and we thank you for coming out. And the next day, we held our yearly emergency preparation event for National Emergency Preparedness Month. And we saw a whole truckload of people finally start to get the use of needing to know CPR, stop the bleed, and these different life-saving techniques. So we saw a lot of people that day take advantage of it. And I want to leave you with this. On Friday, September 27th, from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., we will be working with our council member, Diana Ayala, at her office. And the East Harlem Co-ed will be giving away our usual swag, emergency preparedness items. And we are working on getting the flood barriers, particularly for businesses, and flood alarms in light of all of these storms. That's my update. Thank you.
Thank you. Did you say September 7th, 27th or October 27th?
Oh, I might have said October, but I might have said September rather. It's October 27th. That's Friday, October 27th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. outside of our council member Diana Ayala's office.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson. Does anyone have any questions for East Harlem Co-ed? See none in the room. I see none in the virtual space. Thank you very much, Ms. Johnson.
Thank you.
I'll keep us moving. Our next set of updates will be from Borican Neighborhood Health Center, and I believe we have a new presenter, Dr. Aponte. Is that you? Please unmute yourself and you can introduce yourself.
Anne Marie's also on the line.
Huh?
They're both on the line, Anne Marie and Dr.
Okay, yes. So either one of you guys, I know Anne Marie is also on. Thank you.
Hi, I just want to say hi, everyone. I'm Anne Marie Vasquez. I'm the Director of Marketing and Outreach for Borinquen Neighborhood Health Center. Just want to make a quick announcement before I turn it over to Dr. Ponte. We are having a trick or treat open streets on October 31st from 3 to 6. So send all your clients, family, everyone to come over and have some healthy snacks from us, as well as some resources from different organizations that will be there participating. That's October 31st from 3 to 6 on 123rd Street on 3rd Avenue. We'll be closing it down for trick or treat open street. So now I will present Dr. Ponte, who's our new interim CEO.
Thank you, Anne-Marie, and good evening, committee. Thank you for the invitation. In the spirit of brevity by our chair, I'll try to be very quick, but I am Dr. Adam Aponte. I'm I was formerly Chief Medical Officer at Borinquen Neighborhood Health Center, now serve as the interim CEO for the health center. Have been there for over 3.5 years now, but I'm a product of East Harlem, so I know the community very, very well. very excited to be in this new role and to help to sort of pick up the baton and move our health center forward over the next several years to address the health issues in the community. Been very busy thus far, getting to meet folks like yourselves and learn about some of the issues that are pressing to you related to health and how we can sort of lend our hand towards that. As far as the health center, just some quick updates for us. Clearly, our marketing and outreach has been very robust under Anne-Marie's leadership. We continue to get out into the community to meet people where they are, to help them give information, provide them resources. Within the health center, we're also trying to expand our services. So we recently added an additional day for our cardiologists. I'm not sure if we've announced that here, but we formerly had cardiology services, lost it for a period of time, and now have implemented cardiology services, and we have a provider there 2 days a week. This last month marked the 1-year anniversary of us relaunching our prenatal program. This was something also very, very important to make sure that women had choices as far as getting their prenatal care. I'm happy to report as of September, we have had 18 new babies born to Borinquen, and we're excited about that. And we're servicing about 60 women now who are in various stages of pregnancy, collaborating with Metropolitan Hospital, Mount Sinai Hospital. And within the next couple of months, we'll be announcing some additional services that we think are going to be vitally important to our community that we want to bring into the health center, including some diagnostic testing that we're looking to provide. Once again, really happy to be a part of this committee and come back and share more updates for you as time goes by. But certainly would love to hear from the community and members of this committee, any issues or health-related issues that we might be able to respond to. I'll yield back to the chair.
Thank you very, very much, sir. It's a pleasure meeting you. It's a pleasure having you, and we are looking forward to working with you. And I'm sure if you stick around long enough, you're going to hear all of the issues. I guarantee that. Are there any questions for Dr. Aponte? Am I pronouncing that right? I'm sorry, I don't have the. Is that cool? All right.
If you want to say with sabor, Isaac, you say Aponte.
Okay. All right, cool. I'm gonna work on that. Any questions? Okay, thank you very much, sir. I appreciate you. We appreciate you. This community appreciates you. I will keep us moving. Our next set of updates are cannabis related updates given by Pilar de Jesus. I see Pilar is on. Pilar, you can unmute yourself and give your updates. Thank you for being here.
Hello, thank you for having me. And I'll make it short, but if folks have questions, you can email me or ask. So there's so much, there's been, since the last time we were here, there's been some lawsuits that interfered with the conditional licenses that had already been approved for conditional dispensaries. The big corporate cannabis companies were able to advance. Originally, they were supposed to wait 3 years to enter the market, but now they will be entering as of December. So they will start transitioning some of their medical dispensaries into recs or just start opening recreational dispensaries. And then what's like, again, this is like cliff notes, but one of the latest things is that the portal for 5 licenses, so cultivators, distribution, processing, retail, micro business, have the portal for those applications have opened. So all of New York can go ahead and apply. They are providing some assistance for people who will qualify as a social equity applicant. So if you meet, one of the categories, so either a minority business owner, distressed farmer, veteran, a woman minority business owner. If you live in a community that's been impacted, they actually have a graph where you could enter your address. And you can see, how if you live in a community that's been impacted, especially because the map goes back all the way to the 80s. because there's a lot of folks who may have been impacted by prohibition, and maybe not live in the community anymore, but maybe they lived, maybe back in the 80s or whatever. But if you want to check, they have a way to check. They have this frequent asked questions PDF available online, and I just put it in the chat. It is pretty good. I could go on about why I didn't think the portal should have opened yet, but that's another thing. A lot of it was, as you may know, there's still a lot of illicit shops that are open, and a lot of it has to do because of it's politics. My terms is politics. It has a lot to do with funding and like the different offices, like the Office of Cannabis Management is taking lead as the agency being the lead in cannabis, but this is a new agency that wasn't funded, and a lot of the funding is reliant on sale revenues. And because as you can see, there's not that many legal shops, and so that revenue is not really being generated in the way that it for the office to really function in the way it could, especially when it comes to enforcement and other things that may be concerned for folks. But the portal opening, it's open until December 4th. And this is something I'm going to bring to this license committee as well. The folks who are going for dispensaries and micro businesses with dispensaries, they have to submit a letter to the community board and let them know that they have an intention to open a dispensary in the and it's a form that you can find it at the link that I just sent, and folks have to send that, and so I could stop there for questions, because again, there's just a lot. Like, I think there may be a time we may have to do a fully dedicated meeting as a board, but for the most part, folks can apply if they're interested, and if you're a social equity applicant qualified, there's also a 50% discount waiver. Licenses vary, and I could read that really quick. For an application in general, it's $1,000. If you're going for a dispensary license, the license for dispensary is $7,000 per operating premises. And then if you're also applying for the limited retail consumption facility, there's a fee of $3,000. So roughly $10,000. And then if you get 50% off, you're looking at a $5,000 fee for a license for dispensary. Delivery and consumption lounges are not going to come out until later next year, probably early in the following year. Micro business is about $4,500 for that license. And cultivation, which is growing, is very complicated. So again, I could put this in here for other folks to see, but I'll stop there for interest of time.
Thank you very, very much, Pilar. Could you just repeat one thing for me? Who were the two groups of people that had to come before the board?
So if folks who are going for micro business license with a retail dispensary, because with the micro business, it's the only license that kind of lets you integrate in all the areas. So you have to cultivate, and then you either process, distribute, or retail. So you have to do two of the three: distribute, process, and sell. So you can either be you have to grow the weed, then process it and distribute it, or you could grow the weed, distribute, and sell it. And so that type of license and retail license, people who are going for just a dispensary license, they are the ones that have to come to the board and present this form that is available in the frequent asked questions that I'm forgetting the name right now. But it's like it's a few questions. And it's dedicated for community boards. I'll pull it up before I leave and put it in the chat.
Thank you very, very much. I appreciate those updates, very thorough. Are there any questions from any of the committee members in the room? Okay, seeing none, I'll go to the virtual space. Are there any virtual hands raised? Okay, seeing none, I will keep us moving. Thank you again, Piva. Our next set of updates are regarding an Exodus transitional community and the relocation of its wellness, substance use, and Genesis mental health programs. Who is giving this update?
Diana.
Okay, Diana Ortiz, I'm sorry, could you please, unmute yourself?
Hi. Hello, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Isaac, and committee members. So I guess some of you, or maybe everyone knows that in February, one of our buildings had a fire. And so we had to move our clinics into another building. And so that was temporary. We now have decided on a ground level floor that we have. We've shifted some of our programs. And so we're moving from 2271 to 2276, which is right across the street. And that would allow us to continue in our licensing of our mental health clinic, where we serve the full community and our substance abuse. So they'll both be in the same building. So we're happy that we now have the ability to do that. And so I just wanted to kind of announce that everybody should know that, you know, we're still up and running and our license, we're moving forward with that.
Thank you very, very much for that update. Very sorry about the fire. Are there any questions regarding this move? Okay, thank you again for the updates. Please keep us posted on how it's going. Exodus is a community partner and we'd love to have you guys here.
Yeah, thank you for all your support always.
You, okay? Okay, oh, I see a hand.
Hi, it's me, Anne Marie. I just have a question for Diana. So the mental health clinic moved over to the building that you have on 124th and 3rd Avenue in the corner?
That's where we will be moving into, yes.
Thank you. So I know you have several buildings.
Yeah. Right now, it's still our trauma-informed clinic.
Okay. Was the Grace Center disrupted in that fire too, or is that the place you're moving in?
No, that's a whole separate building. Yeah,
All
so
right.
we have, I think, 4 still in that area.
Thank you. All right. Cool. So that concludes our monthly informational updates. We will transition into our first presentation, which is an informational presentation, the bariatric program at Metropolitan Hospital. Do we have Dr. Cummings on?
Yes, I'm here. I'm just going to start my video. Hi, everyone. Thank you for inviting me. I'm just
How
going
you doing, Mr. Cummings? I just wanted to just remind you that you have 10 minutes for your presentation, and we ask that you allot 5 minutes for Q&A.
Okay, I will share my screen and I'll get started. Can everyone see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just going to expand. Okay. All right, so thanks again for having me. I'm here to just introduce our program, bariatric surgery at Metropolitan Hospital, New York Health and Hospitals. So our department is composed of our chair, Dr. Mark Wallach, and there are 4 surgeons in our department.
Cummings, sorry to interrupt you, sir. We still cannot see your screen.
You cannot see the screen. Okay, 1 second. Let me try that again. Okay. Can you see it now?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, great. Let me enlarge the window. Can you still see it?
Yes, we can. Thank you very much, sir.
Good. So again, our Department of Surgery consists of our chair, Dr. Mark Wallach, and there are 4 of us bariatric and general surgeons, Dr. Stevens, Dr. Soto, Dr. Canan, and myself, Dr. Cummings. We have a coordinator, Jacqueline Nunez Almonte, and we have a dietitian, Elisa Luning. So briefly, obesity is a growing trend in the United States, and we see it here in our East Harlem community. As you can see, over the past 2 decades, the obese population in the United States has reached nearly 43%, and 1 in 10 Americans are suffering from severe obesity. And we care about this epidemic for many reasons, but importantly, we note that it contributes a lot to medical costs around the country, up to $147 billion in 2008, which has significantly increased in the intervening decades. And to the individual, obesity is expensive. An obese patient can expect to spend about $1,500, nearly more per year on health-related costs than someone who is not obese. In terms of why people face obesity in the past, we thought obesity was kind of a moral failing. There was a weakness on the part of an individual in terms of adhering to a healthy diet and exercise. But as research has discovered, it's a very complex interaction between genetic, environmental, and behavioral factors. When it comes to treating obesity, which I will go into in the subsequent slides, surgery is proven to be safe, effective, and sustainable, and we have 50 years of data to back us up. And it's important to note that surgery is working in conjunction with diet and physical exercise to help achieve sustainable results. In terms of how we calculate whether someone is obese or not, we use a formula called the body mass index, or BMI, and it is the body weight divided by the square of the height. In terms of people who are considered obese, if you look to the right of the diagram, the silhouettes that are surrounded by the yellow box are people who are considered obese, both classes 1, 2, and 3. So that's a range of BMI of 35 or greater. And the two on the right are the ones that we consider for surgical intervention. Class 1, usually we adhere to lifestyle interventions to try to improve their outcome. In terms of why we care about obesity, obesity is correlated with multiple other medical comorbidities such as diabetes or high blood sugar, hypertension or high blood pressure, sleep apnea or snoring, depression, joint pain, infertility, several types of cancer, gastroesophageal reflux disease, and asthma. In terms of strategies for losing weight, there are multiple that you might have heard of over the years, such as nutrition consultation. About 10% of people who have that can experience some sort of weight loss, about 10%, but most people regain. Physical activity, a lot of research shows that it's great for your cardiovascular health, but in terms of maintaining weight loss, it is very difficult. So most people regain weight if they just focus on exercise alone. Behavioral health, behavioral type interventions also have a high failure rate. Drug treatments, as we know, there are new medications that are actually making a difference in patients' lives, and we're still waiting for more data to come out to show their long-term effects, which leaves surgery, which has about a 50-year track record in terms of taking care of patients who suffer from obesity. All of our data shows it's highly effective and it's durable. In terms of who we consider for a candidate for bariatric surgery, we consider patients who have a BMI of 40 or greater, or people who have a BMI that is 35 plus and obesity-related comorbidities such as diabetes, high blood pressure, and obstructive sleep apnea, among several others. And we also consider patients who are unable to lose weight with medical treatment. In terms of the type of surgeries that we offer at Metropolitan, we offer the two rightmost, specifically the sleeve gastrectomy, and in certain cases, the gastric bypass. The lap band is more of a historical operation, and it's not being performed as much. The sleeve gastrectomy and the gastric bypass, they're both performed through minimally small invasive incisions. They work by different methods. One is restrictive and works on the hormones, which is the sleeve gastrectomy. And the gastric bypass is also restrictive, meaning the quantity of food that you can eat is much smaller, and you don't absorb many of the calories because a portion of your intestine is skipped during the surgical procedure. I'll go into detail describing so the sleeve gastrectomy is the most popular bariatric surgery that's performed in the United States, followed by the gastric bypass. And you can see the numbers have increased over the years. So about 60% of bariatric surgeries performed in the United States are sleeve gastrectomies, and about 18% are gastric bypasses. In terms of people who are not candidates for bariatric surgery, people who have severe heart failure, people who have severe heart disease, end-stage lung disease, such as emphysema, active cancer, uncontrolled drug or alcohol dependency, severe intellectual impairment, or someone who's planning or currently pregnant within the next 1 to 2 years. In terms of the types of surgery, just for a little bit more detail, both surgeries that we perform are either laparoscopic or robotic at Metropolitan Hospital. They both involve stapling, intestinal rerouting, cutting. At least for the bypass is reversible, but it's difficult. The sleeve gastrectomy is not reversible. With the weight loss, there's a slightly greater weight loss with the bypass, mostly than the sleeve. There is a malnutrition risk with the bypass, which is greater than with the sleeve. In terms of complications, it's a very safe surgery. The risk of mortality is less than 1%. So it's as safe as getting a hernia surgery, as safe as getting a gallbladder surgery. The risks involve leakage from one of the staples, bleeding, acid reflux, scarring restriction, and a need for reoperation. In terms of results, patients do really well after these surgeries. Patients can have an excess weight loss of up to 60% with the sleeve gastrectomy, and with the gastric bypass up to 70 to 75%. There's an improvement of diabetes from 69 to 100% in some series, and improvement of high blood pressure from 31 to 100%, depending on the series. In terms of other benefits, if you look at this graphic, you can see patients have improvements of multiple domains of their health. People have resolution of diabetes, they have resolution of fatty liver disease, high cholesterol, asthma, depression. So it's a metabolic surgery, and it includes so many domains, and people end up having a statistic level improvement in their overall health. And it's important to note that people have a reduction in their mortality. Within 10 years, if you look at 30 to 40% reduction in 10-year mortality. And importantly, 95% of patients say that their quality of life is improved after bariatric surgery. In terms of our workup at Metropolitan Hospital, it takes about 2 to 3 months. They see multiple specialists to make sure that they're fit for surgery. They usually see a lung doctor, a heart doctor, a psychologist, and a nutritionist to make sure that everything in their workup is ready. And patients who are interested are advised to quit alcohol and tobacco to get the best effect and reduce their risk of complications. The recovery is straightforward. The operation takes anywhere between 1 and 2 hours. The hospital stay between 1 and 2 days. Patients start taking liquids on the day after surgery. They're on anticoagulation for 4 weeks after surgery. They have a liquid to soft diet for 4 weeks, and they return to work in 2 weeks and resume a strenuous activity within 4 to 6 weeks. In terms of pregnancy after bariatric surgery, we advise patients to wait for their weight to stabilize in about 18 to 24 months after surgery. We recommend no pregnancy for at least 18 months, as there's a higher risk of low birth weight and fetal developmental delays. So that was the brief presentation, and I thank you for your time, and I am open to questions if anyone has any.
Thank you very much for your presentation. I had a question about the different types of surgeries. I was wondering why the sleeve surgery was more popular than the other two. And yeah, maybe you could say a little bit about the risk associated with each one, maybe?
Absolutely. But the sleeve gastrectomy became more popular just because it's a simpler surgery. You're not making any intestinal connections. So more surgeons felt comfortable doing the sleeve gastrectomy, and the results were actually very good for patients. The gastric bypass, as you can see in this schematic, it involves creating a small stomach pouch and rerouting the intestine to skip a portion so that you don't absorb as many calories. In terms of the complications, the risk of mortality is very low for both of them. Again, the risks would be bleeding, infection, leakage from one of the staples. Risk of malnutrition is more so with the gastric bypass. Risk of a hernia as well with the gastric bypass. And there's a risk of dumping syndrome with the gastric bypass, where that if you take something sugary, you can have kind of bloating, flushing, nausea. But again, those patients, with appropriate post-operative care, they get through any sort of issues that they face, and then get on to have a really good outcome.
Please, Drew.
Aren't there some like lifelong changes one has to make in term after they receive this gastric bypass surgery? Because my sister had got gastric bypass, and for example, I know she's not supposed to like have carbonated drinks, and I think something about chewing gum and things like that. So there's some other like lifelong things that one has to be mindful of. Isn't that correct?
That's true. I think that the main thing that we try to have patients adhere to is a healthy diet, high in fiber, high in protein, and low in refined carbohydrates. Just because there is a risk of weight regain. In regard to the carbonated beverages, they can cause bloating. Again, you swallow carbon dioxide, the gas will expand in your GI tract, and it will cause kind of a discomfort. It won't harm anything, but it may make you bloated, your belts, and just have overall discomfort. But the main thing that we try to get patients to refrain from, as well as the refined foods, is alcohol There's a higher risk of alcohol addiction after bariatric surgery, specifically the gastric bypass, due to the change in absorption. We also try to have patients avoid any sort of smoking. Patients who have a bypass, we try to have them avoid things such as aspirin and Advil, just because there's a higher risk of ulcers as well.
Any other questions? Yes. Anything?
I actually used to work in like the field of fat phobia and weight bias research, and I was wondering what like you and your team do regarding addressing like weight stigma both among your patients, because you know that like internalized stigma can increase the odds of weight loss not necessarily working, and also like among your staff regarding weight bias and stigma and how you care for patients.
That's an excellent question. So we're very mindful that patients do face stigma. So we have a very open approach. They're referred by their primary care doctors or they're self-referred. We just start a conversation with them to see kind of what are their goals. Is their goal to come off their insulin? Is their goal to have less joint pain? We find that most of our patients, they're seeking to at least improve some parameter in their health. It's not as much related to like physical appearance or anything of that sort. It's more just to reduce, some sort of medication that they're on if they need orthopedic surgery for like a hip replacement or a knee replacement, just so they can get to that goal. But again, we have a very no judgment, very open discussion. And we try to avoid any sort of stigma or bias. We have residents and we have students, so there's a lot of teaching involved as well. So it's a oiled machine. It's also very collaborative, and we're very open with the patients.
Thank you very much. Any other questions in the room? Okay, with that, I will turn it to our virtual space. Are there any questions from anyone in the virtual space? Okay. With that, thank you very much, Dr. Cummings. We really do appreciate your presentation. This information is very helpful. Have you already sent the slides to us?
I believe the Aquilina tried, but I think the file was too large, but we can try again. I would like 3 days a week, so patients can see us Monday, Wednesday, Friday. They can self-refer as they like.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, if you could try to share them again, that'd be cool. Maybe a Google Drive link or something. That'd be really cool. Thank you again. So I'm gonna transition us. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna switch up our agenda for a second. I apologize to the next two presenters. If you would bear with us, I don't want to lose quorum before we go through our budget items. So if that's cool, Marlene, I know Art has to leave at 8. So I want to go through, we can go through the budget. We go through our the last year's budget requests. And Art, if you will, give us some, where you were at the last district needs meeting. Perhaps you could give us some insight on why the committee made such certain recommendations. And then we will, as a committee, discuss whether we agree with them or not. Yeah.
Do you want me to pull up the worksheet and type it in, or?
Yes, I do. Absolutely, yes. I'm gonna just look at it. I'm not gonna type on it because I do understand also just looking around this committee that we have a lot of members who were not here when other decisions were made or budget items were added. So I'll do my best to give context to some of them, but if I can't, or rather, I would encourage you to still think within your own individual expertise. And we are a new committee, a new body, so that's how we'll move forward on this. Everyone who is here is going to be the folks involved in these decisions for this fiscal year 25. So yes, we'll wait for Marlene to have the when she's ready.
It's the same spreadsheet you sent, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you could be it at the same time.
Well,
Probably better.
I got it up here.
You guys don't have to say that.
We only have expense. How would we do capital? We don't have- So I will start on 21.
I'm gonna filter it so you don't look at the LSP. So you're starting on traffic, ending in 34 E. Oh, you're doing it by Excel roll, no problem. 21, yes. Yep.
On 21 to 34.
Mhm.
Okay, so, so the first one, request are the healthcare facilities request. A portion of the 1,200 residents of homeless shelters on Wars Island suffer from chemical misuse. Recommend providing mobile drug treatment support towards island shelters, requesting mobile treatment units be deployed towards island to increase access to treatment. The committee's recommendation was to remove this. Oh, excuse me, before I go there, sorry, forgive me. The response.
That was the staff.
Excuse me, yes, I'm sorry, sorry, staff recommendation, sorry about that. We are the committee voting on this. Before that, the response, this was a question, Mark asked about, how they respond. So the response we got was further investigation is required, contact the agency. So that's the response we got for that particular request.
By the way,
Yes.
that's a very common response.
It
seems that way.
very common, yeah. Art, can you tell me what's, maybe, you know, why we said we wanted to, the staff recommended to remove them?
Well, he wouldn't know that, that was internal to the staff, but, yeah,
Oh, okay,
yes, yeah. But
Okay.
they're just suggestions,
okay.
right, so,
Oh, you mean staff meaning just you?
yeah.
Can you explain what the staff know?
Got it, my fault, I had you on the road.
Or go, no, it's okay. So this went to health and hospitals. So you can keep this on, this is just a suggestion from the staff, you can keep it. Or you can go to health and hospitals and ask them directly, this question. And then have them come, for example, there was some was it DOV? Which agency did you guys have come, was it DIFTA? That said further study is needed, or it was DIFTA that came? And you, this committee contacted the budget person in the Department of Aging. And had him come and tell you guys exactly what you should, how you should phrase these things, so they're budget questions that, you know, would lead to more funding for your requests. So you could do that, right? Or you can keep this and revise it. It's completely up to you all as a committee.
Okay, let's go down to the next one.
So the committee could say either of these things, right? Keep, revise, remove, right?
Yeah. I was hoping to
That's
just
yours.
maybe we could go through all of them and then decide whether we want to, I would come back and just go through, remove or revise and that, right?
Up to you all.
Yeah, let's do that.
How you wanna do it?
Let's just to go through them and see the answers.
Mhm.
I'm gonna ask that everyone just keep themselves on mute. Thank you. Okay, 22. Create or promote programs to destigmatize mental health needs and encourage treatment. The rate of adult psychiatric hospitalization in East Harlem is nearly triple the citywide rate. Funding should be targeted to improve programming in East Harlem. Supportive programs should be developed and better targeted to particular populations to encourage people to reach out and get help before needing hospitalization so that their mental health needs can be positively managed. Programs should annually assess and evaluate to provide assistance with jobs, housing, education, medical assistance, and any other needs that this vulnerable population may need. Okay, so the response was further study by the agency of this request is needed. That was also staff recommended also to remove that one. Being a staff member, Marlene, can we at least pick your brain?
Yeah, it's just been on here for a while, right? But again, you can keep it and revise it
Yeah,
as a committee.
I wonder,
It is your choice.
is it, I feel like part of, I feel like, sorry, let me not deviate from my own plan. Let's go to the third.
Alright.
Sorry. 23, column 23 is what I'm looking at, row 23, excuse me. Other programs to address public health issues request more peer support. The reason more peer support outreach workers and social workers are needed in CB11 to provide information and support for people suffering from drug addiction. These workers should specifically be employed to work with individuals on 103rd, 110th, 116th, and 125th Street corridors. Also, more social workers are needed to support drug users enrolled in court diversion programs. Okay. The committee also, the response to that was the agency will try to accommodate this issue within existing resources. And the staff recommendation was to keep this. Going down to row 24, provide more information and services related to STIs, HIV and AIDS, and family planning. HIV, the reason HIV and AIDS continues to be one of the leading infectious diseases in East Harlem. Funding for pertinent sex education and access to HIV prevention drugs should be made available to vulnerable populations. Okay, the agency will try to accommodate this issue within existing resources, and the staff recommended that we remove this. So I'll go down to row 25 now. Other programs to address public health issues requests, explore alternative interventions for homelessness and substance abuse in parks, including Marcus Garvey Park and Randall's Island. For example, contracting local community-based organizations to station a trained mental health worker in Marcus Garvey Park to provide assistance when necessary. The agency will try to accommodate this issue within existing resources. This was also a removal recommendation by the staff members. Row 26, other senior center program requests. Additional funding is needed for senior center staffing, including for social service providers that support Asian seniors, including funding for bilingual caseworkers in-home caseworkers, and translators, as well as culturally sensitive programming, culturally sensitive meals, English classes, and Tai Chi classes. This was a requested DIFTA. Further study by the agency of this request is needed, and it is a staff recommendation that we keep this request. Row 27. Other programs to address public health issues request. There's a need to include additional public advocacy personnel and contractors who provide more culturally engaged and innovative ways to better inform people receiving drug treatment services, open drug use, family exposure to drug use, and its long-term effects. This feels like, okay, I remember this one. Sorry. Yeah, so the agency will try to accommodate this issue within existing resources. The staff recommendation is that we remove this one. 28, other programs to address public health issues requests, provide programming for additional personnel or contractors to take proactive measures to mitigate hazardous waste such as discarded hypodermic needles surrounding treatment facilities by routinely and thoroughly assessing treatment facilities outside parameters, including street blocks for needles and other harmful drug paraphernalia. The agency will try to accommodate this issue within existing resources. Staff recommendation is to keep this. Row 29 is the row that I'm on now. Increase case management capacity. Provide funding for more caseworkers. Increase the number of culturally competent caseworkers in Community District 11, specifically those who are able to provide services in Spanish, French, and Creole. Further study by the agency of this request is needed. the staff recommendation is to keep this, recommendation. 30. Promote vaccinations and immunizations. Funding is needed to help lead vaccine-related outreach, engagement, and access to not only COVID-19 primary vaccines and boosters, but also polio, monkeypox, and influenza immunizations. Since neighborhoods of color, including East Harlem, have disproportionately low vaccination rates, additionally, funding could help raise awareness of the benefits and, and improve access to vaccines, more outreach workers, health, vaccines, fairs, etc. The agency will try to accommodate this issue within existing resources. The staff recommendation is to revise this. Row 31, animal pest control. Is that right? I'm on 31. Huh? Animal pest control. Provide funding for proactive measures, animal and pest control requests, including reducing rat and mosquito populations. Provide funding for proactive measures to mitigate rodent population in public housing, empty lots, construction areas, and train stations where rats establish colonies. The agency will try to accommodate this issue within existing resources. The staff recommendation is that we revise this request. Row 32, allocate funds for outreach. Allocate funds for outreach services to homebound older adults and for programs that allow the elderly to age in place. The reason, provide funding to ensure faster services for seniors transitioning from hospitals and rehab to home. Further study by the agency of this request is needed. Staff recommendation is that we keep this request. Row 33, other programs to address public health issues requests. Newer, less lethal drugs are now available as an alternative to methadone, but lacking of funding is usually cited as reasons why the drugs is slowly to be adopted. An independent nonprofit should assess whether there is a sublet of less than 7,000 methadone patients who would benefit from transitioning to newer, less lethal drugs and to help with the transition. This would also allow patients to reduce frequency and distance travel to obtain treatment in Harlem. Further study by the agency to this request is needed. The staff recommendation is to remove this. So a new request has been added here, not by myself. Other programs to address public health issues request, increase funding for NYC 988, New York City's free confidential support crisis intervention and information and referral service for anyone seeking help for mental health and or substance misuse concern. Okay, with that being said, I'll give a 20-second preface. Let's go back up to the top and decide on, yes, let's decide first on what we want to keep and remove. I'll show you the new budget requests, some of them that I had. If we feel like these are not, some of the language that I'll show you may be used in some of these, so we can revise them. Or we could supplement, we can do whatever we want to do. This is, again, I'll say a new committee, so let's make a decision based on what we want to do moving forward. And yes, we take we trust our staff, but we do have the choice to, accept the recommendation or not. So with the first one, a portion of the 12,000 residents at homeless shelters on Lord's Island, this was the staff recommended that we remove it. For some reason, not for some reason, but I feel like this was sort of addressed in some way, so I also feel like we should remove this.
It's being done. There is a mobile drug
It
treatment.
is, yeah.
Specifically
to us.
Specifically on Randall.
It was not on, it was, is it not exponents? Is that not what they came and presented on in December?
That's not exposed.
Not exposing, someone else presented on this.
Yeah, it's being done, and I'm right now, sorry, it's being done, and I'm forgetting who's doing it, but that's why the recommendation was to.
Okay, and that's why I kind of felt that way, okay. great.
It's
So let's-
specifically being done on Ward's Island?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Let me just make a note.
Now, if we feel like we want to re-articulate this for a different location, that is also our choice, but this was specific towards Island, which why it has the number of residents and stuff, so.
I assume the reason the recommendation was made was because we want to we want to reduce the number of people coming into the neighborhood who need drug treatment and not have the neighborhood become so oversaturated, right? Is that the real rationale behind the proposal to begin with?
I don't want to give the full rationale behind
Okay.
each of these budget requests, because some of them have lived on it longer than I've been on. it.
Okay.
But I think. See, we'll be able to come back to this. Right now, let's go through and see, but keep those questions and ask those questions, because on the next part, I want to just briefly go through our moratorium document, which I don't believe a few people were on this committee for when we extended it with all of the new requests that we have. And I think that that should be noted as we move forward. We're thinking about these budget requests right now. So yes, that's a good question, and that's hold off on it. As it sits right now, is anyone, the recommendation is to remove it. I also think we should remove it. If anyone thinks we shouldn't remove it, please say something. The second one is
Wait, what are you doing right now?
I think what it sounds like is, unless anyone disagrees, we will also opt for that to be removed.
So are you going through all the removals?
I'm gonna go through all of these that are here right now that have a removal. or
Okay, so let me filter that,
Yeah,
so like you make sure you hit those points,
yeah, so we.
because it's very easy to get lost in the sauce about that, okay?
We can go through the removal. I mean, we can do when.
So you're
yeah.
doing.
Yeah, let's do removals.
Okay, so you wanna look at removals,
Yeah, to see if we
Okay.
disagree with any of those removals.
Okay.
That would be easiest. Yeah.
right, so this. Alright, so let's just focus, okay, go ahead.
Can I just,
Please.
I mean, I'm obviously new to the committee. I have no idea why these things were presented to be budget requests to begin with. I don't know enough about facts about what's happening. I mean, I'm trying to do this, a lot of meetings going on. I know there's one new mobile unit that's somehow deployed in New York State. I don't know if it's actually deployed in Ward Island. Maybe there's more. I'm trying to look at news stories. I mean, my point is that I don't really feel like I'm in a position to know whether or not these budget requests should be removed or not. I'm happy to defer to the committee's senior members but it's a challenging thing as a person who's new to understand whether or not we should remove budget things that at one point were thoughtfully presented because we thought they were solving some problem. So I don't know what to do about that. I just guess I feel like a little awkward because I don't want to slow things down. I certainly don't want to say I don't want to remove it because somehow I have a lot of personal knowledge of why it's there, but I'm just feeling a little bit strange about being asked almost to decide something I don't know much about. I don't know why I felt compelled to say that, but I did.
No, thank you for saying that, and that is exactly how you would feel when you're thrown into the process.
Okay.
That is how everyone feels when they get thrown right into this process.
Right, okay.
So the feeling is don't stress it, follow along with us. Again, we have asked those questions, try to get as much background as you feel like you need. I'm gonna call Xavier into the conversation as well, more to give some more background to some of these requests that might have been here prior to me or anyone else on this committee. Yes, but that feeling you have, everyone has felt it, because you started in September and we're right into budget season. So please,
I see a section, a column for staff notes. So I don't understand why that column is not being used. If there's a removal idea and there's no reason, are we supposed to just make an assumption for?
I think that when the staff, well, I'll let the staff answer that as well.
Yeah, so, here's the thing, I'm gonna say it again. So if you guys don't agree with the removal, it's within your right as a committee to leave it on. It'll move through to the budget committee. So there are, the budget process goals, what you submit to OMB on the 31st. There's 40 capital requests, not 40 capital requests from this committee, it's from the board. And 25 expense requests. So, depending on how you rate these things, you also have to go to priority, Isaac. So depending on where this thing falls in priority, it's up to that, it's now that committee is now tasked with pulling from all the committee's work, 25 for this board, 40 capital for the board. So if you would like to leave it on, you as a committee can leave it on or revise it.
But I guess my question is it just arbitrarily just remove or approve? Why? There's a
Right.
there's
so
a
it's
section for
happening for
approval
this-
or not, but there's no notes, like,
Right.
we don't know the thinking behind why. it
Right,
should-
no, your question is
Okay.
valid, so there aren't any notes right now, so
Okay,
I understand, but not to belabor that point. So you and I can speak offline about that, because you have a lot more budget stuff to go over. You as a committee could decide right now what you would like to do.
I know, but I think it's quite.
yeah, it's not belabored, it's just like, it's here and we're deciding the
We just
information.
want to know, what was the rationale? That's
All right, for this one, it exists,
it already exists.
right, so what I can do offline, like I said, tomorrow, you and I can speak offline, and I will get the exact place where this is happening in district for you, to give you more information for that one.
I mean, I will concur, I know, I am not belaboring, it's helpful to understand the
Mhm.
rationale, because again, as Isaac said, I trust the staff, you have a lot more experience in all this than I could even possibly have, but not knowing why.
But the request is
It's-
moved forward with you all.
Right, I know, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna rely a lot on your expertise or your experience, and without knowing exactly what it is, it's hard to evaluate that in terms of.
I
And
understand.
I don't wanna flood the budget committee with everything and make them have to be the ones culling the, the herd, as it were. Cause I think
I
that's partly
understand.
what we're supposed to be doing, right?
Yeah, and in general, the discussion about removal was, we want to focus on things that we think can happen.
That makes sense, right? We wanna
And
prioritize with other.
Otherwise, you're gonna get, tons of responses that say further investigation or within existing resources. So forth and so,
Right.
so let's try to focus on things that we think are really needed and we can make it happen. I think that's the general
Yeah,
idea.
well,
Thank you.
and then
Yeah.
but on that front, I mean, maybe I think it's changing your strategy, but since you have written 2 new budget requests that are aligned specifically with. Resolutions that this committee has proposed, perhaps we should see those in comparison to these and not wait until after we go through all these, because.
We still have to go through.
Okay, because
I mean, it's just,
All right.
it's when we can go through the
All
resolution
right.
first and then those and come back to this, but we still, the process is the process.
all right,
So we still have to go through, I understand what you all are saying, I think I think the benefit of what you just said would be that you all. Could hear again the issues that have been communicated.
right.
Yes, but it still wouldn't answer that specific question for you because Marlene would
Right.
still have to get you the information about that particular
Let's take another
item itself.
Hold on a minute, sorry. I did-
Robin?
I'm just gonna, can you recognize April, please?
Oh,
Tell her if she has something she can say to him.
oh, April, if you're on, you
Chat is
can,
disabled, so.
oh, okay, the chat is disabled, I think if you
Have
have
some-
something to say, you can just raise your hand and say it, sorry. Yeah, I don't see a hand coming up. Yeah, just, everybody just use your, raise your hand and we'll make sure that we get you on this. I think that, let's go about it the other way, I'm gonna take this suggestion and, yeah, so let me ask you another question, Marlene, if, we need quorum to vote on these things, correct? Okay. We won't be finished by 8 o'clock when all will leave, so, we will be, this will have to be pushed over to the executive committee. Xavier, can you jump into this conversation, please?
Can you give me just a moment to get, give me a moment?
Yeah.
May I then respectfully again request, because we are gonna lose quorum, I agree, that maybe we should see again what you, because I want to prioritize within what we have time for, and also, you know, so
Yeah, we
if those are the most hot issues, we should probably
Yeah.
at least vote on those before we lose the opportunity to do so.
Yeah, we're not gonna vote on anything in the
Okay.
next 16 minutes.
All right.
It doesn't matter what route we go.
All right,
Yeah, I'm just looking at the time.
Oh,
Just
April.
being honest.
You
Yeah, I
wanna
see
do
it.
that?
Yeah. But we're not gonna vote on anything in that amount of time. This was a process, which is why being here on time was really important for today.
Okay, I'm in an area and I see April has her hand up, so if you want to go to her real quick and then I can weigh in.
Yep, please, April.
No, that's okay. And I might, hi, sorry, I'm not there in person. I miss you guys. I just wasn't sure. Yeah, I see you. I just wasn't sure the best way to engage, because I have a lot of comments that I'm happy to put in because I'm in the worksheet now. Yeah, so anyway, all that to say, like I'm here, I'm present, and I am engaged. Just wasn't sure the best way to interact, but I guess that'll be decided in how we move forward in next steps.
I think with respects to like how everyone is jumping in on a particular item, jump in with us. If you have comments or suggestions, just lay them out as we're going through. I do want to bring Xavier in because I have a dilemma here that I want to understand a bit more.
How can I help you?
So we'll lose quorum in about 15 minutes and we haven't gotten through our budget items. So I just
Okay.
yeah.
Without doing kind of a speed round, I think when it comes to the removal, so there are a couple different things that you could, low hanging fruit, the ones we want to leave on. So if the committee is all in agreement with the ones they want to leave on, and then the prioritization of that, the removals that you currently have but may need to table, what I would say you could do, because I think there are two new requests and I can't see them right now. It's having issues with I stepped away from my computer to where it was quiet. You could address the new ones for discussion, but you do have to prioritize. So I would say those that you're going to leave on, take the position you're going to leave those on and prioritize them. Then give the committee time to look at the new request and have a determination on that. And then you can circle back to the removes and then say these are the other ones that we did not have time to consider, and then give the recommendation to statement of district needs and budget, especially if you're going to lose quorum, because at least you'll have a position on the ones you want to leave on, including an assessment on the new ones. And then you can go back and say, we lost quorum and could not determine whether or not to remove. In that time, work together, because I think, correct me if I'm wrong, statement of district needs is on Wednesday, correct, Marlene?
Yeah.
Okay, so try to come to determination to say, and then you can deliver to Stephanie and CC myself and Jess and say, it's obviously not an official position because we lost quorum. However, we've come to this determination and we just want to bring it into the light. And we'll leave it with that committee, and then we can address it again at executive in this particular instance due to the extenuating circumstances. Does that make sense?
It does make sense, but it still leaves the issue of folks not having background knowledge on some of the items which has them reluctant to say whether we should remove them or keep them.
When can we get deliverables for the background information is the question I would ask, to kind of give a background. Say, for example, if a budget request has been fulfilled, that's easier to remove. In the past, we have left budget requests on if it's partially funded or we're waiting for it to be fully activated. We've done that in the past, but if we have had it fully funded and we know it's coming online, we've gotten confirmation during our district consultations over the summer, then that would be a reason to remove it. So I guess the question would be is how long would it take to get the notes on each of these removals so that the committee can be informed?
Who's that question to?
Marlene, how quickly do you think you could get that? Because I think that'll.
I'll go tomorrow, but may I say something, please, Xavier?
Yeah.
To the committee. So this was emailed to you all in advance, right? So I would say I will do it tomorrow, no problem. But the questions, that you all have now for the removal should have been asked to me directly in advance of this meeting. And if you needed further clarity, myself and the other staff members would have provided you with that clarity in advance of this meeting. It's okay that you're having this question and you want the clarity right now on the floor, but it is not a productive use of your time. Cause it could have been asked in advance, but in short, I will try my best to deliver this to you all tomorrow. But moving forward, please have your questions to me in advance of your meeting.
But this,
Thank-
this form was before this meeting as well, so. But I don't have any questions about the removals. I think if
We
we,
lost connection on this one, hold on. Well, okay, Marco.
Yeah, I understand that you don't have,
Isaac.
but yes, go for it.
Yeah, and thank you, Marlene, for mentioning that. That's something I think in uniform, we have all been saying, please, come prepared, review everything, ask questions in advance. So I think that's something we should all work toward improving in the future. That I couldn't agree more, and that's something we push toward. And again, so appreciate you leaning in and trying to facilitate that. So that is the recommendation, and that's the steps you can take. So if you want to get all your approvals, everyone wants to prioritize that, get that done, get the 2 new ones, and then we can start going through the removals if you have time. That is the best course of action I can recommend at this point in time.
But can I have a suggestion? I think probably the best of our time, and I'm sorry, but I do have to leave in about 10 minutes, is why don't we agree on everything that we're gonna keep? I mean, that should be pretty.
That's what Xavier.
I don't have any
Yeah,
problem with
let's just
that.
agree on that.
Yeah, let's,
I
I don't have a problem with the removal, it was just a question.
And,
Yeah, but the question, right, you can't ask the question and act like it didn't, it brings up more of like, okay, well then how can I make my decision if I don't know? That was the essence of the question, and the question was for context, so that you would know how you would vote, yay or nay. So I know you probably didn't have a content question, but your question, it prevents, it's the same question he's asking, can I get more context so I know how to vote? So I just wanted to clarify that, so, but yes, keeping, can we agree?
The keeps, okay?
Thank you.
yes, thank you.
I am, we can do these votes by acclamation as well, right? So, all those in favor, is there a motion on the floor to keep all of the, budget items that are marked here by the staff?
I will move to keep all the ones that are marked as a recommendation to keep, the 5.
and I will
Motion made by Mark
and I'll second it.
and second by Art. All in favor? We'll do this vote by acclamation, so all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any abstains? Drew Jones, has abstained.
The motion carries.
Thank you. Okay, can we go to the removals? Could we go to the one revision? It's only one revision.
Okay.
So let's just go to that and agree that we will revise that. And then we'll look at the. I can make some notes on it.
Here. It's changed. That's the revised. It's 30 and 31.
30 and
I'm
31.
sorry, I appreciate you, Mark, but I'm moving the meeting.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, I was just
I'm
trying to,
so
I'm just
sorry.
trying to help. I'm just trying to help.
Yeah.
Let's slide through it again.
I appreciate it.
All right, so. This is the one to promote vaccinations and the other one is pest control. I'm sure we can agree that these are still both issues. Is there a motion on the floor that we will agree to, revise these 2, budget items, keep them and revise them?
I'll make the motion. Keep them and revise them.
Okay, motion made by Art to keep and revise these 2, budget items. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Kareem Hauser, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any abstention? Julie Jones abstaining. Okay. Let's go to the removals. Your filtering skills. Okay, so, move, the first one is the Ward's Island, second one is asking for create more programs to destigmatize mental health. The next one is explore alternatives to interventions for homelessness. New or likely to drugs and, okay,
Yeah.
I would like to go through these individually. But I don't think we should remove all of these, so I may not vote, just to remove all of these, but, is there a motion, on the floor to accept the staff's recommendations to remove this first one? I think we should remove the first one.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to remove the homeless shelter at Moore Diamond.
Yes.
The rationale being that it already exists.
Yes, is there a second? Second by Jen, all in favor? Aye. Aye. Jewel, I'm sorry, is there any abstentions? Jewel and Mark are abstaining.
Art.
So remember, when we are abstaining because we don't have enough information, so we all know, if we're gonna feel compelled to vote yea and nay, you can vote how you feel. So the next one is on column 22, right? The rate of psychiatric hospitals of funding targeted to improve programming and mental health supportive programs. I don't think we should remove that. I think we should revise that.
We can be more specific.
More
Like
specific.
programs could be anything.
Okay, so, is there a motion to keep this and revise this one?
With or without a specific revision, just the idea to revise it.
We'll revise this.
Okay, that I can support, right? I'm happy to make a motion to create a revision to this.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Art.
Make the most.
Mark made the motion. Art is second in the motion, and the motion is to keep this item and revise it.
Isn't,
Yes, 40. All in favor? Aye. Any abstentions? Julie Jones is abstaining. Okay. The next one is regarding, HIV and AIDS continues to be, one of the leading infectious disease, funding. This one is for funding for permanent sex education. This is another one I think that we should revise. I don't think we should remove this. I think this is still very much an issue for young people. So I think we should just, keep this and revise this. Any thoughts on this one?
Supposed to revise it, how?
To be probably more specific and, targeted towards, post-COVID facts. Post-COVID numbers, I think that I don't think this has been, solved, in the process. I feel like we should remove this.
I wonder if we can make it broader, just with health literacy in general. I think that's a big part of HIV is it's just knowing how to prevent it, so.
Is there a motion to keep and revise?
Guys,
I'll second.
Motion made by Jen, seconded by Art. All in favor? Aye.
okay.
Aye.
Any abstentions? Present not voting,
I'm saying,
Julie's abstaining. Okay, the next one is, additional public advocacy personnel and contractors who provide more culturally engaging, innovative ways, I think we can remove this one. I understand the sentiment of it. It was one of mine, but it's not clear enough. All right, any thoughts on this? Any objections to removing this?
Which one?
I am on 27.
No, you're on
No.
25.
Tracking poll 412E.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Explore, I'm supposed to be on number 25.
Yes.
Sorry, okay. So
I'll make a motion to remove
which one?
it. 25.
Well, I was talking about,
Oh, you're right. You were reading 27. Sorry, you were reading 27.
alternatives to intervention.
But I agree with the comment.
Oh, yeah, yeah, we
It's
can
not
remove that one too.
That's not a budget request.
Make your motion. We can
All
remove.
right, I'll
that.
remove 25 and 27.
There you go. Is that a motion you're making?
Yes,
Can you repeat it again, please?
I'm making a motion to remove budget request 25 or line 25 and line 27.
Is there a second to that motion? Second by Jen. All in favor?
Aye.
Any abstentions?
Abstain.
Julie is abstaining. Okay, so we are now down to 33 is the last one. Am I correct? Okay, so this one is an independent nonprofit should assess whether there's a subset of less than 7,000 methadone patients who would benefit from transitioning to newer, less. So this is asking people to use different drugs to treat their issues. I am in agreement with the staff to remove this. Is there anyone who wants to make a motion to accept the staff recommendation to remove this? Can you say the motion?
I make a motion to remove item line 33.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Art is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, any abstentions?
I abstain.
Yes. Julie, no abstention. Okay, that concludes what we have. There. Now, Xavier, can I bring you back in for a second? At this point, if we are discussing options about new requests, could what you said apply where we say, hey, although we don't have quorum, this is what we want to add this as a new request.
Have you? Hear me?
No, we can now.
Have you lost quorum now?
Not yet. Not at this moment.
Okay,
but
you
we
can
are-
discuss. Yeah, you
I'm
can
sorry.
discuss and say, you can discuss and say that when you lose quorum, it will not be the official committee position, but it can be something we could discuss at the executive. And then a statement of district needs, you can just say, we got into discussion on these two additional items, and we can bring it up at executive, I would imagine. So I haven't been able to look at the requests, unfortunately, just yet.
I mean, I can hear you, but is
They-
is a new item, the eight?
No, that's one of them. I wanted to go to that one real quick, Marlon, since that one is already articulated. The other ones are, would take us a little bit more time to go through, so if you need to leave, that's fine. As long as this one, that was added new is more, specific and already ready.
Right.
So we can, I would like to vote on that while you're still here, but the other ones, we can do what we
Okay.
said, if folks are comfortable with it, then we'll bring them up. I can bring them up during executive.
All right.
Yeah. Yes, Marlene, we're ready for that new one. No, honestly. So it is on 34. you are looking at the sheet on your own device. The new recommendation or new request, excuse me, it is for other programs to address public health issues. Increase funding for NYC 988, New York City's free confidential support crisis intervention and information and referral service, which is for anyone seeking help for mental health and or substance misuse concerns. Is there a motion to accept this new request in our
I'll make the motion.
motion to accept this new request? Is there a second? Second by Kareem Calder. All in favor? Aye. Any abstentions?
Abstain.
Okay. All right, really quickly, I'm gonna walk through,
The whole process.
um, let me share screen. I was mid through it and just. I wanna take, maybe 15 minutes to do this process and then we'll go back to our presenters if they have the patience to bear with us this morning. I guess at this point, since we've already voted on most of them, this is more for information's sake, more for committee members who are not as informed on the issues that are, before Community for 11's Human Services Committee in the last 12 months, I'll say. Since I've started as chair, they get a clear enough of the contents and background. Two big things. We've passed the resolution on. One was a moratorium document. I'm not sure, has anyone had the opportunity to ever read this moratorium document? You have?
I think I did.
You think you did?
This is about moratorium of any additional services.
Yes, which one did you read?
Which one did I read?
Yes, there was one that existed before my tenure, and there's one that I worked tirelessly to.
It was.
A revision.
It was in something pertaining to this meeting. I just read it.
Oh, was it in?
Maybe it was, went back in the minutes. I'm sorry, I can't be.
It's all good. Brandon, Jill, did you guys ever see the moratorium document?
Didn't we vote on that? What are you referring to? Didn't the whole board vote on it?
The whole board did.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, all the committee members did, so I just wanna-
Oh, so it was in the
Some of
minutes.
them
That's
started
why.
in September.
Oh, yeah.
This
I'm
this
well
was
aware.
passed in.
Well aware.
Was it in last week? Did you vote on it in last month's
No, we
meeting?
voted on this in June.
Okay, I must have read the minutes. Then that's where I saw it. Okay.
I asked because if we have seen it, then I'm gonna have to go through, save us some time. That was the reason I asked.
Then you have to ask if I remember it.
I'm gonna do this, because it is important that it's on the record that this was done. Folks took a real hard stance on some, on their feelings on the, addiction services and in CB11. So with that, I want to offer the opportunity for, there to be some budget items that directly relate to those resolutions that we passed. One was the moratorium, the other one was a resolution we passed that was not in support of Mayor Adams' budget cut to food. So that we all know, budget items made by the Human Services Committee are made to these 5 agencies here. So we make our budget request to these 5 agencies. I'll make this a little bit bigger for folks so you can see it. But these are the 5 agencies we make our budget request to. Now, these agencies are, especially if we look at HRA, it's even like organizations and agencies within that. So there's a lot there. So just to give you a scope of who we are making our request to. The Human Services Committee passed the following resolution. And this was in regards to the chemical dependency drug treatment programs and people's concerns about them and the lack thereof of community input when they are citing, also the public safety issues that were related to it, but also the need for such programs for individuals dealing with these with issues, with particular issues. So we resolved that Community Board 11 calls upon New York State. I didn't read the whereases, so you know, just for the sake of time, I did not, I just summarized them. We resolved that Community Board 11 calls upon the New York State Office of Addiction Services and Supports, OASAS, and other regulatory agencies that have oversight over the above mentioned programs to, one, implement an immediate moratorium on the sitting of any new drug rehabilitation, chemical dependency, or treatment centers to be located within Manhattan Community District 11 for the next 12 months. Provide a comprehensive list of current OASIS authorized drug rehabilitation, chemical dependency, or treatment centers located within Manhattan Community District 11, and provide, where possible, primary contacts of providers, names, and owners, landlords, authorizers, funders, donors, subsidiaries, investors, providers, partners, services, delivery methods, outcomes, and metrics for determination of success, funding sources, medical and other professional certifications, and proof of standing, capacity, and current demographics of clients served, and any necessary and pertinent information related to the execution of CB11's charter mandated role and responsibilities. 3, require all existing OASIS authorized drug rehabilitation, chemical dependency, and treatment centers to provide data regarding the efficacy of its community related solution. Okay. This is copy and paste. Perhaps some of it is missing. Yeah.
It's the rest of it is intervention methods, including specific data regarding recovery and those who have recovered.
Thank you, sir. 4, require all existing OASIS authorized drug rehabilitation, chemical dependency, and treatment centers to provide enhanced mental health assessments and continuum supportive services embedded with all addiction treatment strategies. Require all existing same parties to diligently forge collaborative relationships with, when no relationship is pre-existing, with the Community Affairs Department at the NYPD for the purposes of enhancing street intervention to guide those who use drugs openly to a harm reductive location where access to additional supportive services, mental health, social services, food services are available. B, form relationships with researchers from local organizations and academic institutions in East Harlem that produce local data in order to foster participatory methods of data gathering and analysis. C, form partnerships with referral organizations for the purposes of providing indirect access to emergency support for housing, career development, and social services. And 6, require all such parties to come before Community Board 11 to share the current status of their programs and further goals no later than 120 days to all reauthorizations and or expansions of services or service capacity. This is what we asked for, right? After all of that, you know, and I'm going to say this very, very explicitly, after all of the I don't want to call it complaining, but with all of the messy talk about people, with all of the stigmatization of people, with all of the cries of public safety and all of these things, this is what we have. This is the resolution we came up with. And this resolution addresses all of those issues. This resolution has weight in 2 ways, in that we can take it as an independent entity and use it to articulate to OASIS and other parties that this is the position this committee, or rather this board, this entire district has made in this regard. That's one way, right? As an advocacy tool, we have come to this resolution. Whether they want to work around it or not, this is the resolution, this is the position we have, we stand on this. That is one way. The other way is that we find ways to make these asks translate into budget requests that we can then ask the states or the city agencies to fund some things. Those are the two ways. And the reason I'm saying it like this is because I am quite frankly tired of people complaining about stuff, but don't have solutions, don't have any ideas on how we can come up with solutions, don't have any input when solutions are put before them. They're just like no good, just what to complain. And I'm going to say that because it frustrates me, because there are people who go and do the work of trying to figure out how we can solve these issues. And if folks are just going to complain, I'm going to ask them to just shut up. But that's not what happens on this committee, right? Our committee doesn't do things like that. So I believe that we will find ways and find some things that we can extract out of this that will translate into budget requests. I have done a lot of the legwork for that, for everyone here, so that we don't have to spend a lot of time on the floor re-articulating or trying to articulate from scratch. Okay, so based on the resolutions passed, this resolution passed, here are some clearly articulated budget requests that can be made to the Department of Health and Mental Hygiene. These budget requests aim to address the specific needs and concerns outlined in the resolution passed. They're categorized. I'll go through them by category. They are highlighted because these are ones I think have good potential. The other ones I feel like would take too long for us to work out on the floor, but I'm happy to, if folks feel differently about those, then let's talk about it. And also we can, they don't have to revise them today, but we can say, hey, we like this, we want to revise this, and we'll bring that to executive. We've already lost quorum, so we're not voting on anything else. Okay, increased funding for community-based mental health services. We can make a request an increase in funding for community-based mental health services in Manhattan Community District 11 to address the disproportionate impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on lower income communities of color. We do not have this request in our request right now. I think this would be a great one to add. Please jump in at any time and give me your thoughts and feedback.
One of your requests mentioned COVID-19.
Yeah, one of them do mention COVID-19. Okay, that's another thing. Thank you, Marlene. That's another thing I would like for us to look for. If there are, if these can be consolidated into one, or if we've already voted on the ones to keep, they'll be kept as they are. We will only be revising the ones that we voted to revise. So I don't know if it said specifically that in COVID. Maybe someone can check. But if it's not that specifically, I think we should be as specific as this. Increase in funding. Specifically, like we're saying, maybe you are funding it, but we want an increase in funding given post-COVID pandemic race. Yeah. Okay. So with that, I'll keep going. Support for integrated substance abuse and mental health programs. Allocate resources to support integrated programs that address both substance use and disorders and mental health issues, recognizing the integration between these challenges. Pretty much this is in line with the continuum argument. Like we should have continuum services. So don't just provide one service, because people probably not just using drugs just because they want to use drugs. They probably also have dealing with mental health issues. They probably also dealing with homelessness. They're also dealing with other issues that are exacerbating the drug use. So having these continuum services. So this may not be the articulation, but that was the goal of that. Expansion of mental health assessment and supportive services. Request funding to enhance mental health assessment and provide continuum services within all addiction treatment strategies at OASIS authorized centers. This is one I would also put a star by. Maybe not the second one, but this one specifically because it asks them to provide funding to enhance and to make sure that all treatment strategies have this continuum supportive service model, where it's not just you offering one service, but you, like, they encourage organizations and, you know, places to develop a more continuum model. So that's something, we can include. Allocate resources for collaborative initiatives between OASIS, centers, and community stakeholders, including the Community Affairs Department of the NYPD, local researchers, and referral organizations. These initiatives should focus on street intervention, data gathering, and emergency support for housing, career development, and social services. So this is, yes, this is another one I believe I highlighted. The ones that I highlighted, I think we should really consider incorporating. This was very broad, and I felt like I didn't include this because we already have this. Well, we don't have it, but it just seemed like it was just too tricky to articulate at the moment. But that was only my thought. So, request funding to support data-driven decision making, processes that promote transparency, accountability, and efficient resource allocation. This should include resources for data collection, analysis, and reports to inform program effectiveness. I'm not sure, please weigh in on both. Yes, please.
I mean, I understand why you might not have made that a priority. It fits into obviously what you're asking for in the resolution, specifically to give us data that show us the efficacy of the program. So, I mean, these are great, by the way, Isaac. So you did a nice job on crafting these, I have to say.
Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate you. I'll highlight this. Okay, community engagement and involvement. Allocate resources to facilitate community engagement and involvement in the decision-making process related to sitting of new programs and quality enhancement of existing programs. This may include funding for community forums, workshops, and outreach efforts. I definitely think we should have this. Definitely. This is like what we always talk about. They don't come, they don't have, they don't talk to us.
Can they also teach conflict mitigation skills? Because that's what these might devolve into.
Capacity building and program evaluation. This could also be a part of that data-driven, so we can consider consolidating some of these. Provide funding for capacity building initiatives within OASIS. Authorize centers, including staff training and development, as well as program evaluation efforts to assess and improve the service delivery. I guess this would be good if we knew that they weren't successful. I think that was here's another thing I wanted to highlight. Another thing I need to highlight that one of the things that I've noticed since last year is that a lot of the requests are saying there's more data needed in these areas. We have become crippled by the lack of data that we don't have as a community district. And I think it's a lot because we don't produce our own data, because we're not working hard enough with community orgs or academic institutions to facilitate our own research projects. And therefore, research is being done about our community, and we have to do FOILs and other things to get that information. And it takes us forever to get information. One of the things I'm hoping that we will start to do, even in our independent work, is to form coalitions to do research, which leads me to the second thing I wanted to say. At our organization in East Harlem, right around the corner on 116th and Madison, I am going to be partnering with the CUNY Public Health Initiative to create some research studies. We will be conducting, starting off with, we will be launching a research initiative which will serve to create community-based data that comes right out of our hood, that comes from organizations who work right with our people, so that there is never a question about the demographics of the people we're studying and the methodologies we take to execute those studies. I am saying that because I am encouraging each one of you as committee members to do the same in your own respective areas. With that being said, I think that this program evaluation, we would be able to better ask for things like that if we were able to say, we know this is not effective. But we can't say that yet because we don't have data on these things. So we need to find out ways to gather our own information. So that is a C, yes.
I'm trying to see if, they would send you to the state, there's always this to the state. And they just city is asking the city for like additional funding for different agencies. You know?
Well,
I'm
yeah,
trying to see.
well, doesn't DOH sort of oversee some of the things we're asking, not necessarily if we say, we don't have to say, well, for this one particularly,
Yeah,
right?
I'm
because
just
it says
saying.
OASI,
Yeah,
Yeah.
you go DOH, that's a city agency, so that's applicable to your exercise with the budget request.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's, I'm just in my brain,
No, you're right.
they might send you to the state.
This is not a request for us.
Mm-hmm.
I'll keep us moving.
It's just in my brain.
No, thank you very much for that, Molly. That was very, very thoughtful. Support for trauma-informed care, request resources for trauma-informed care training and implementation within addiction treatment strategies, recognizing the impact of childhood trauma on adult substance use. The reason that I did not highlight this is not because I didn't think it was important, it's because I think that that's already embedded in a lot of the treatment services. Some of them have already communicated this to us. I remember when exponents came, they one of the gentlemen who was presenting, spoke about this. So they this is not something that is, I don't believe it's something that's not already being addressed. Monitoring and oversight. Allocate funding for increased monitoring and oversight of OASIS authorized centers, including regular reporting and program status updates to Community Board 11. Is this one of those two, Marlene, that you're thinking they're gonna refer us to the state?
What was, besides reporting to the community board, what would you think would be monitoring and oversight? Who's monitoring and oversight? The state, is that what we're saying? Is the state the one who would be the one doing that?
In collaboration with us.
Right. Well, I understand that we put us in there because we want to hear more about what's going on, but we're not technically the one overseeing them, and we're sort of being informed.
Monitoring is monitoring their data and the information that they are able to release. But don't quote me on that. This is really just like language thrown together that hasn't been all the way flushed out. It's really like yeah. Spaghetti on the wall.
It's more than that.
Okay.
Because it's definitely been cooked.
Almost cooked. Almost cooked. All right, yes, I also had something that I think was, I would, how should we? I guess what I'll do is, the ones that are highlighted, since it doesn't seem like anyone disagrees that these could be, added or probably should be added because they are in line with, our resolution. Does anyone here right now think that these are not in line with our resolution and should not be considered as a new budget item? Yes, Julie.
So you're just introducing this stuff to us right now. Was this somewhere else where we should have been in advance?
This is my own, so this is what everyone should have done. This is not work for the board.
So
This is
I'm just
me.
gonna say though that I don't say yes to anything right away. I'm gonna have to look at this stuff and I'll review and then I'll have a response to it.
Okay, so just to that point, I will say this is my own due diligence. The only thing I was required to do was come in and go through what was recommended and keep, leave, or whatever. Because I want us to be true to the position we are taking, I went the extra step to put together some new requests because the requests we have don't totally align with the resolution. So these I'm going through with you so you can see my additions because I figured no one would come with additions, I'll be honest. I didn't think anyone would come with any new additions, and I don't think that we should ever year to year have the same budget request and not be adding to it, especially since the issues in our community continue to change and evolve. So it's like if we're not evolving in our request, then we're not doing our due diligence. Hence the reason I put this together. So just wanted to say that. Sure, I'll share the document with you to look at later, but if I am going to take this to the executive committee and see if we can add some additional requests if there's anyone again who shares Jules' sentiments or any other sentiments similar to, yes, please.
I mean, I'll confess, it's always good to read things in advance, and, I've read all the other ones, it would have been great to have read these, and I understand you wanted to present it because you had drafted it and you didn't want to necessarily throw it out there until you had a chance to share more of your thinking. That being said, I think you've done a spectacularly good job of breaking down possible ways of actually making that resolution implementable, which is what you're really doing. You're doing the work of the city agencies, but basically telling them, this is what you can do to actually make this viable and actually get this thing potentially back on track.
Yeah.
Personally, this is what I was trying to reference before. Not knowing enough about the history of all these other budget requests, I'm with you. It's like, to me, this is of the moment. I've now been on the board for 3 months. Every meeting has been basically about this.
Yeah.
It's about basically oversaturation of East Harlem. So this to me seems to be the primary budget request for this committee. So I would support this. I would support this over the other things.
I agree with that. It should be more primary than the ones we have on there, but that wasn't, yes, another reason I did not share this in advance is because, I'll be quite frank with that too. If I were to share it in advance, then I run the risk of people saying, oh, he did all the work, we don't have to do anything. And and it is important that committee members do work. Like, we are all here, it's a shared responsibility here, right? So we are, give me 1 second. It is important that, and I'm gonna stress this, because I am going to do my part as the committee chair, but I can only do my part. Each member's participation is important. It's very, very important. It's important that we review the materials beforehand. And if we're not new to the community board, then we understand the process at least of the budgeting. So at the very least, we can come prepared to some extent. So preparation. If you look at things right before the meeting, or if this is the first time you're seeing it at the meeting, then you weren't prepared for the meeting. Especially since Marlene sent the agenda not the day of the meeting. You know what I mean? So I'm just stating that for you all here, for the record, because it's important. Yes, Drew.
So let me just state from this, so I was on the board many years ago, I came back. So much of what we've just discussed in terms of the district needs and budget, those things that were on that list, I've seen before. And I'll just be very candid. I abstained because I have some concerns about the process. I think there was some legitimate questions asked in terms of, notes and information. And I thought those were very legitimate. I have a concern about the process. Everything you've discussed, I've heard before. I'm not, if I'm being candid, I've heard before. I've been in the committee for a long time. I was on the board before, left, came back. And in terms of this right now, so this I've not seen before, and I'm gonna say it again, it might all sound well and good, and but I personally will not say yes, yay or nay, and that's just I think that's just part of the committee and the board in general. I think, when people present, we don't say yay or nay based on one presentation. I think we've said that before, so I just wanted to state my, my position, and also, again, be candid about my abstention.
It's totally fine. You have the right to abstain. Again, this is.
I have to say, I don't need a comment after what I've just said. I'm just gonna be, I've said what I've said. I don't need a comment about what.
Thank you. The comment is for the record. I appreciate it. The comment is for the record, because I don't want it to get lost in this conversation that this is not anything that was supposed to be done. This was me doing the work that each and every one of us should have done.
I acknowledge that. I acknowledge that.
Can I speak to that point though? Because I hear what you're saying. Obviously, I'm so new. This is all sort of dizzying, but if there are going to be in the future the desire for committee members to craft budget proposals that are tied to specific things that the committee itself has actually discussed in the last year, I would suggest that you assign that brainstorming session to a subset of the committee and even potentially use committee time for that purpose. I think it's a little bit challenging to ask that people would come up somehow on their own. This is a lot of work, Isaac, as you know, because you did it, right?
But
So,
I came up with this on my own.
But you came up with your own because you were
Because I was-
committed to doing it. I'm saying this is hours and hours of drafting.
Yeah, but that's no different from what any other committee member
I
could
know.
have done if they were on this committee and understood the issues that this committee
But
had.
there's something to be said for collective responsibility holding. And when you have multiple people who are working together who are brainstorming, right, then those ideas get out there and things get drafted. I'm just suggesting as a way to generate this instead of relying on your good effort or any other board member's individual motivation to do something that's a lot of lifting, right? Use the collective energy and even potentially the time that we have to actually craft those things, because I think that's, even if it's not well crafted after that, at least it's a skeleton by which you can actually build out the actual language. I applaud your effort, and I don't disagree with you that everybody could do it. I mean, I was a high school principal for 11 years. You want people to do something, you gotta provide them time to do it, otherwise it often doesn't get done.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that, and I won't hold this too long. I hear you, and I hear you as a new committee member, first meeting, so I hear you. Everyone has had time to do it. No one has not had time to do it. So, again, I will say that the same due diligence I took as a committee member who volunteered for the position, everyone, right? We all have been prepared on what October is. I said it in September. So no one didn't have enough time to look through. Everyone on this committee, to the best of my knowledge, understood that we had a resolution we passed earlier this year, right? So the linking the thought to say, hey, let's turn this resolution into budget request wasn't. I believe I said that on the record last month. I believe I did. And I said it during executive committee. I am sure of that. And I'm sure I said it at full board. So folks had enough time to look at stuff. I won't drill that point home, but I don't want to allow to just reign as if folks didn't have time, and now because they're looking at it, that's fine. These were my due diligence. I'm presenting to you and all of you. You know, I would hope that next year we all come with some new budget requests for the Human Services Committee, because I imagine that human services issues in East Harlem will evolve, right? So we will need to do that. So just a point of preparation. I'm gonna pull us out of this now, just because we don't have enough time to keep going through all of these. I will again bring some of this up to I'll speak with Xavier tomorrow. I will also go before the executive committee and see what can be done with respects to us losing quorum and having these specific items. If it means that they have to go on next year's, that's fine with me. We will have a whole year to then look them over. You know, so that's where I'm at. And I hope that the frustration in my voice is not being lost, because it is very frustrating, you know, when people prepare for meetings and folks don't come, they're late, all of these things where we know when meetings are, we know all of these things, when folks are not prepared and it holds up the process, that does frustrate me. So I do want to express that and express it on the record so folks don't ever say that I didn't say it. With that being said, Cynthia, if you have patiently waited through this long to give your presentation, I want to just first say thank you very, very much. And then I would give you the floor to give your presentation.
Hi, everyone. Dr. Liang, who's the principal investigator for the study at Mount Sinai Hospital and Mount Sinai West, actually just logged off because he has a prior engagement. I'm so sorry. Would it be possible at all for us to reschedule? I'm trying to see if he can come back online, but I'm not sure if he can.
Yes, it is possible for you to reschedule. If you just email myself and Marlene, yes, you can.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yes, and I'll let you know that in the future, you wouldn't have to have waited this long, but we had a member who needed to leave early and we needed to vote before they left.
No problem. Thank you again for the opportunity.
Thank you. I heard that, is there something folks want to say on the record right now, before we go to our next presentation? Okay. I will transition us, that was I thought we had two. Oh, we heard one.
You had two on your budget and.
Oh, I thought we
yeah.
had three. Okay, so we're fine. We finished our budget conversation. Is that correct?
Mhm.
Yeah, so, is there any old business? Is there any new business? Anybody have anything they want to get off their chest before we leave?
I'm just curious, didn't you say it was two things that you prepared? Didn't you say there was a second?
I prepared a lot of those.
Right.
I don't want to hold this on. the
Okay,
meeting.
well, I would still love to see them, so.
Yeah, no, I'm
Okay.
gonna share them now so that you will have
Okay.
enough to, the ones that you did not see, I won't bring them up to executive committee because none of you all have seen it, but the ones that you have seen, I will bring those up as ones we did see on the screen, and I would like to advocate for to be in our budget request. With that being said, we can call the roll. Oh, yes.
We lost quorum, so there's no need for roll call.
No.
I was gonna ask, if we
Yes.
have like other ideas, should we send them to you?
Please send them as soon as possible. I'm gonna try to take things.
I don't know
Don't,
how well they'll be worded, not like yours, but.
don't do that. Don't do that.
Just, if us have a record, can I use the spreadsheet that was in the earlier bill, or should I just send them directly to?
Oh, well, send them directly, but use the spreadsheet directly so that you can see. Don't worry about like, don't get caught up in the language on those things. Let us do that, figure that out. Just if there's a specific request that people want to make, please, just send it in. I'm gonna send that document I just made to everyone tonight so that everyone can look at it tomorrow, which is, Tuesday. And by Wednesday, we have executive meeting on Thursday, so hopefully by Wednesday, we can finalize a list of maybe some additions we might want to make in our budget request. That sound good, Ronnie? Xavier, is that a good thing that we can do?
Could you say that again? Sorry, I was talking to my eldest at the moment. I had to step away. Yeah, could you, I mean, you know what that's like. Could you say that question again for me?
I was just, we just went through some of the additional requests that, I had drafted. And, folks have some other ones that they want to send in. We didn't have quorum anyway, so we weren't able to add any new ones in. So I'm hoping to bring all of these new ones into executive to at least discuss them and see what's possible.
You know, I'm always, as you know, and open to the discussion. I'll double check with Angel just to make sure we're staying on track with the process. And I think any of them, and I think there was good advice given when, you know, just to say, throw it against the wall, right? Put, even if it's the wording is not, you know, complete or you're getting a thought, the worst that can, you said on the meeting was that, you know, if it pushes to next year, you just get the opportunity to really flesh it out. And we'll have I'll cross check with Angel in the morning. Then you and I can have a chat, and then again we can discuss it at executive, based on the advisement from Angel and everyone. And again, I think that there's, I'm open to the possibility, but you know, again, we want to make sure that we do everything in procedure. But I think you brought a lot of good work, so thank you to everyone for the discussion. And yeah, just let's set up a call tomorrow. I'll see when I can break away. Does that sound like a good plan, everyone?
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, we're all in this together. That's all that matters. And you know, we get what we can on, and we're doing a lot of good work. So let's keep moving in the same direction. Thank you, everyone. I want you all to get home safe. Okay.
Thank you. Do we need to do roll call?
If you would like to do roll call, you can.
Yeah, so we're adjourning the meeting. Yeah, can we do a roll call, please?
April Autry is appearing via Zoom. Mark Podolsky.
Present.
You have Chadley. Kareem Kauser.
President.
Roger Flores. Brandon Gillespie.
Here.
Bill Jones.
Present.
Vermont. Alicia Miranda. Arturo Perez. Isaac Scott.
I'm here.
And Robin Stracher is excused.
Thank you. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you everyone for being here. Thank you for making it. Good night. Yeah,
What
next
school
month.
are you at?
What school? I'm retired now.
How long have you been?
How long have I been retired?
Yeah.
2 years. They don't let us in.
I feel like I've seen you